the Wednesday Night Blitz. Presented by...
Welcome to the 5th episode of the Wednesday Night Blitz. I'm Frankie Tovar, here as always with Eddie Ruiz.
We're on location at the Delhi High football field, where we're going to take a look at last week's recap against Delhi and Turlock Christian, where the Hawks came out on top 64-7.
Before we take a look at those highlights, let's take a look at last week's scores. Delhi took advantage of the winless and rebuilding Eagles by jumping out to a 40-0 lead in the first half. The Hawks racked up 406 yards of total offense, 354 of which was in the first half alone. Quarterback Garrett Thomas emerged as the stat star of the week with 3 touchdowns and 112 rushing yards to help the Hawks snap a 5-game losing streak.
Thomas looked very impressive from the get-go as he was able to bolster both his touchdowns after a 26 and an 84-yard touchdown run.
Running back Joel Cantu also put in an impressive performance with 130 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, while Rafael Medina also notched a touchdown on a 43-yard scamper. Now, there were no passing attempts for Delhi's offense as they were able to get the job done on the ground alone. The Hawks defense also got in on the scoring frenzy as Jesus Soto took back a 35-yard interception return for a score in the first quarter. By the end of the game, the Delhi D racked up 2 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries, both of which were recovered by Sergio Hernandez. There was also good play from Jose Martinez and Cantu, as well as Rico McCombs in his first game back after a groin injury.
Now, TC struggled as they were limited on offense, and they switched off 3 different quarterbacks as it was Malik Portillo, Drake Dutra, and Logan Lundquist, all rotating in and out.
Portillo emerged as the only spark on TC's offense.
Now, he was able to bust loose for a 35-yard gain, and then after that was a 40-yard gain that set up a 1-yard touchdown.
Now, that was pretty much the peak in the action, as the second half was played mostly by Delhi's backups.
It feels good to snap a losing streak, get us a league victory, but it's kind of bittersweet. I wanted it to be more of a struggle.
Our team executed well. It took them like the whole season to finally start committing to their blocks and everything, but they picked it up. I thought we were going to dominate more on the passing, but their defense just wasn't really. They weren't expecting that run. We just kept going to the outside. Well, we just got to keep that momentum going. We got to win. It was a good win, but we got a better team next week, so we got to keep working hard.
Delhi is now 4-5 with 1 Southern League win as they prepare for next Friday's matchup against Denair High, and both teams will be looking for that 2nd league win to end the season.
TC is 0-9, but they're going to be looking to get their first victory next week against Waterford. Boom, just like that, we're back here at the Turlock office where we're going to take a look at this year's Harvest Bowl matchup between Turlock and Pitman.
As you know or should know, this Friday is the big game, the Harvest Bowl, where the Bulldogs will host the Pride for the 10th anniversary of the series. Now, Pitman leads the series 7-2, but with playoff implications on the line for Turlock, this should be a very hard-fought and even matchup.
Now, aside from the significance of the playoff implications and such, this is going to be the first time that head coach Tom Tyler meets up against former player that he used to coach, James Peterson.
Now it's time for a quick quarterback comparison.
Now, senior quarterback Wyatt Clapper for the Pride has completed 47 of 95 passes so far this year, being very efficient while accumulating over 972 yards, 12 touchdowns, only 3 picks.
On Turlock's side, 3-year varsity starter Sean Downs, also in his senior year, has been a dual threat, completing 90 of 152 passes for 1,053 passing yards and 12 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions, Eddie. On the ground, he's carried the ball 107 times for 671 yards and 8 touchdowns. That makes him the 2nd leading rusher on Turlock's offense.
Now, in the running game for the Pride, the main guys carrying the load this game will be Logan Wolfley and Drew Lewis. So far, they have both put up at least over 750 yards on the ground this year, while scoring over 8 touchdowns each.
For Turlock, Javon Hogan has emerged as the top rusher with 93 carries and 759 yards and 8 touchdowns. He's backed up by Bubba Moreno, who has 60 carries, 271 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Now, as for total offense, so far the Pride have been able to accumulate over 3,481 total yards. That's 2,509 rushing yards.
Turlock comes in with slightly less yardage, with a total offense of 2,645 yards. 1,636 of which came on the ground. And through 9 games, Turlock's offense has managed to score 39 touchdowns, while the Pride has scored 45. Defense is going to be huge this Friday, Eddie, as the unit with the best rush defense will likely come out victorious. For Turlock, they'll have to depend on the likes of Albino Orozco, Patrick Green, Christian Standridge, and Jericho Tamu.
Some of the players to look out for Pitman will be the defensive front for them that consists of Eric Bergeron, Nick Roditis, and Josh Vercelli. And take a look at Jorge Pena too on the linebacker crew as he is leading that group. Now, a couple things to look out for this Friday is Andrew Lopez, who's going to be returning for the Turlock Bulldog squad, and also the absence of Mario Lewis, the fullback for Pitman, which injured his knee on the first play of the game last week.
Turlock and Pitman won't be the only teams playing this Friday though, Eddie. So right now, let's take a look at the rest of this week's games. So make sure to get your tickets in advance for this Friday's 10th Annual Harvest Bowl. And make sure to tune in next Wednesday at 7 p.m. for all the highlights and interviews and our analysis. For Eddie Ruiz, I'm Frankie Tovar. Good night.